Jason Statham loved Tuesday mornings on an active set. The air always thrummed with a low-grade electricity, trailers humming, grips hauling cables, a whiff of burnt espresso drifting from craft services. In Atlanta's old Pullman Yards, repurposed as the backlot for his new heist thriller Lockbox Meridian, life felt almost suspiciously perfect. The studio had upgraded him to a vintage cherry '68 Mustang for the hero car shots. The Georgia spring sun was mild, and his only real concern was whether he could beat the lunchtime traffic to his favorite diner, Mabel, on 8th, before the cornbread muffins sold out. By 8:05 a.m. he'd already run lines with co-star Mariah Keene, FaceTimed his mum back in London, and squeezed in 40 decline push-ups beside the wardrobe truck. Business as usual for Hollywood's most famously disciplined action star. The crew, a revolving door of sound techs and lighting hands with names like Eli Navarro and Brooke McAllister, greeted him with fist bumps and the kind of relaxed respect that comes when a lead actor knows every grip's first name. Then, like a solitary hairline fracture on a loaded glass, came the first fissure. While heading toward the prop shed, Jason cut across the rear parking lot. An area production had supposedly locked down for VIP access only. Leaning against the chain-link gate was a broad-shouldered security guard in a neon yellow vest. Terrence T-Bone Rourke, a late-30s former college linebacker with mirrored aviators and a mouth that never met a filter it liked. T-Bone flicked his toothpick aside and spat on the asphalt. "Well, look who it is, the short-stack Shakespeare himself," he drawled loud enough for the nearest PAS to swivel. "Heard you do all your own stunts except reading the script." A few extras snickered. Jason raised an eyebrow but kept moving. He'd heard worse on London building sites back in the 90s, but T-Bone wasn't done. He stepped forward, boots crunching gravel. "Hold up, ID badge." He tapped the lanyard around his own neck, the laminated card flashing security in bold red. Policy says even movie stars show credentials past this point. A small, uncomfortable hush fell. Everyone knew Jason could have ignored the man and walked on, yet that would turn a ripple into a wave, so he produced his set badge, even smiled. "All good, mate." T-Bone squinted theatrically, pretended to compare the photo. Picture looks taller." Someone tried to stifle a laugh, but it escaped like steam from a kettle. Humiliation pricked Jason's ears, a silly thing, yet public digs have a way of lingering. He pocketed the badge, offered a curt nod, and continued, but a sliver of unease lodged under his skin. Small loss, he told himself, shake it off. Lunch hour brought round two. Jason reached Mabel, on 8th with his driver, Caleb Price, only to find the lot roped off and cops scribbling tickets. A sinkhole of all things had opened beneath the diner's grease trap overnight, shuttering the place indefinitely. Jason stared at the yellow tape fluttering in the breeze like cautionary prayer flags. No cornbread muffins, no hometown charm, just bad luck wrapped in city ordinances. Caleb sighed, "Want me to hit the new fusion spot on Peachtree?" Jason shrugged, "Yeah, all right, maybe the universe is telling me to branch out." Yet the substitution felt like wearing stiff new boots. Functional, but nowhere near comfortable. The coconut lime quinoa bowl he ordered tasted about as satisfying as a wet screenplay rewrite. Back on set, the Mustang wouldn't start. Mechanics diagnosed a mystery electrical short. The afternoon's driving sequences were bumped to Wednesday. Director Quentin Dillard, usually unflappable, paced and grumbled about losing daylight. Meanwhile, Jason's schedule ballooned. Combat rehearsal jammed against ADR, a radio interview, and a live virtual Q&A with fans hosted by influencer Riley Donovan at 9 p.m., long after wrap. Stack the Falls. At 5:17 p.m., while Jason rehearsed a knife disarm with stunt coordinator Delaney Brooks, a runner approached looking nervous. Mr. Statham, production says you gotta move your personal SUV from Lot C. It's blocking hazmat access." Jason wiped sweat from his brow. "Hazmat?" The runner swallowed. "Yeah, apparently there's been some kind of spill. Security's all over it." Security, the word rang like a low bell. Lot C was 3 rows of white-painted asphalt behind the prop house, the same zone T-Bone manned. As Jason arrived, he spotted the guard lounging on a folding chair, chatting with a pair of off-duty buddies. A bright orange traffic cone sat behind Jason's innocuous black Range Rover. Beside it, a handwritten sign, "Chemical leak, keep clear." No other vehicles had been moved. Jason approached, calm but cool. "Terrence, what's going on?" T-Bone slid off his chair, towering half a head taller. "Oh, Jason, we just following protocol. Barrel of solvent tipped inside the shed, safety perimeter till hazmat arrives." He gestured vaguely. No alarms sounded, no workers evacuated. Jason scanned the area, no chemical odor, no suited responders. "Let me guess, I can move the car if I show my badge again." T-Bone smirked. "Rules are rules." Jason could have exploded. Instead, he inhaled, counted 4 heartbeats and stepped back. "Fine, move it for me, keys are at base camp." He pivoted, refusing to grant another second of satisfaction. Behind him, T-Bone called out, voice dripping mock concern, "Don't worry, short stack. I'll use the booster seat so I can reach the pedals." Laughter like gravel on glass scraped through Jason's composure. Crew members nearby stared, whispered. An unpleasant heat flared in his chest, not anger exactly but something primal, an alpha-sensing challenge. Yet he walked on, spine straight. Evening bled into night. The virtual Q&A went sideways when the platform servers crashed under unexpected traffic. Riley Donovan's live chat feed filled with trolls spamming, "Where's your booster, Jason?" Someone had clearly shared T-Bone's joke online. Jason smiled through gritted teeth, pivoted to anecdote after anecdote, but his mind kept circling the parking lot humiliation like a dog gnawing a bone. By the time he headed to his trailer, the lot lights flickered as if wavering on the edge of an outage. Caleb had gone home. Jason trudged alone toward Lot C to retrieve his Range Rover himself. Under the sodium orange glow, his SUV sat untouched, no cones, no sign. He unlocked it, threw his duffel in the backseat, and was about to climb in when a guttural rev cut the air. Across the lane, T-Bone idled on a Harley-Davidson, engine snarling like an iron predator. He lifted his aviators, eyes glinting. "You took my spot," he shouted over the engine. Jason looked down, a white-painted reserved for security stencil half-faded beneath his tires. That hadn't been there this morning. Tiny provocations, Jason thought. A man can only absorb so many. Still, he answered evenly, "Plenty of open spaces, mate." T-Bone twisted the throttle, letting the pipes roar. "Maybe I like this one. Maybe I'm tired of Hollywood prima donnas thinking the world bends for 'em." Jason stepped fully out of the car, door ajar. Quietly, "You've made your point." T-Bone cut the engine, boots hitting pavement. For an instant the only sounds were buzzing floodlights and distant cicadas. He walked closer, squared up. "Haven't started." Something in the man's posture, forward lean, flexed fists, promised escalation. Jason's stunt instincts mapped exits, angles, consequences. He saw the Daily Mail headline already. "Action star brawls with security, film shut down." Not good. Instead he said, voice low but firm, "Terrence, tomorrow at dawn meet me by the sparring mats. No cameras, you bring this much heat, you handle it the right way, you game." T-Bone's grin spread like oil on water. "Thought you never ask." He popped the Harley into gear and peeled out, tires screaming. The taillight dwindled, leaving Jason alone in the humming dark. He exhaled, pulse steady but thoughts racing. This was no longer a petty playground taunt. It was a fuse lit, snaking toward powder. "First Fisher, first flame," Jason mused while sliding behind the wheel. He had invited combat, yes, but on his terms. Tomorrow, either the guard would cool off and back down, or something irreversible would ignite. As he drove out of Pullman Yards, a billboard overhead flickered with a power surge, then went black. A sign? Maybe. He pressed the accelerator, engine purring, consensus. Tonight the sky was moonless, and somewhere beyond the city lights a storm line gathered unseen. Jason Statham woke at 4:30 a.m. to the metallic trill of his travel alarm, muscles already primed by a restless, fight-dream-peppered sleep. Outside his midtown hotel window, downtown Atlanta glimmered like a circuit board under fog, and the Prud'hon stillness carried the hush of decisions about to detonate. He arrived at the production gym, a drafty brick annex behind stage 3, 10 minutes early. Fluorescents buzzed overhead, free weights cast long shadows across the rubberized floor. To one side stood Alyssa Crane, unit medic with a trauma kit there just in case. On the other, stunt coordinator Delaney Brooks and 2 crew witnesses, Noah Tex Granger and Lena Duarte, set up GoPros for liability documentation. Everyone looked wary, as if they'd wandered into the Thunderhead's eye. At exactly 5:00 a.m., the steel door screeched and Terrence T-Bone Rourke swaggered in, hoodie half-zipped, Harley logo on his chest like a challenge coin. His mirrored aviators stayed on despite the indoor glare. In one hand he carried a battered gym bag, in the other a giant styrofoam cup of gas station coffee. "Morning short stack," he drawled, "hope you stretched." Jason kept his voice even. 3 2-minute rounds. No headshots, no kicks above the waist, we wear gloves, deal. T-Bone peeled off the aviators, revealing cool hazel eyes that looked hungrier than yesterday. "Sure, princess, whatever helps you sleep after." They touched gloves. The Bell app on Delaney's phone chimed and round one opened with cautious circling. Jason controlled distance, jabbing to test reach, until T-Bone exploded with a surprising southpaw cross that rattled Jason's rib guard. A collective oof escaped the peanut gallery. Jason's instincts sharpened. Slip counter liver shot. T-Bone grunted but grinned, feeding on pain. He bullied forward in clinches, hissing insults. Hollywood poser, overrated hobbit, trying to worm inside the mind. Jason answered with surgical bodywork, each punch landing like punctuation on a cease and desist letter. Round one ended evenly scored but emotionally lopsided. Jason calm, T-Bone stoked. Between rounds, Alyssa iced Jason's side where a bruise blossomed. "He's baiting you, don't play smash mouth," she warned. Round two began and turned abruptly. 30 seconds in, T-Bone fainted high, then whipped a short elbow illegal that clipped Jason's cheekbone. The watchers shouted protests, but before Delaney could step in, Jason's training kicked to DEFCON 1. He ducked a follow-up hook, pivoted, and buried a right uppercut into T-Bone's solar plexus so clean it sounded like a melon splitting. The guard collapsed to his knees, gulping air that wouldn't come. Silence, then Alyssa rushed forward. "Fight over." Jason backed away, heart pounding. He stayed within the rules, mostly, but the optics were brutal. Beloved Star Drop's blue-collar guard. As medics tended T-Bone, the guard's buddy Marcus Diesel Hobbs barged in, filming on his phone, yelling, "Assault! That's assault, man!" Clips of the knockout would metastasize online before Jason reached makeup. 8:47 a.m. set headquarters. Producer Whitney Cole stormed into Jason's trailer mid-costume fit. Her Bluetooth earpiece blinked like a warning flare. The video's viral on X and TikTok, 20 million views in 40 minutes. She flipped her tablet, security guard code by action star, real or staged, headlines multiplied like bacteria. Jason rubbed the forming welt on his cheek. "It was a supervised spar, he elbowed me." Whitney cut him off. "Doesn't matter, the guard's lawyer is already grandstanding. He's got neck pain, dizziness, emotional distress. They're screaming for a 7-figure settlement and a public apology or they press charges." Jason exhaled slowly, stacked the falls. 10:03 a.m. Fulton County Courthouse. Despite studio lawyers begging delay, T-Bone filed a civil complaint. Statham v. Rur, claim of battery and reckless endangerment. The press perched like vultures on courthouse steps, microphones angled for carnage. Jason's attorney, Evelyn Pace, advised silence, but TMZ still captured the actor's tight-jawed expression, interpreting it naturally as arrogant indifference. Back on set, rumors churned that insurance might yank coverage. If that happened, filming would shut down, hundreds of crew furloughed. Lighting tech Brooke McAllister texted Jason a single line, "Please tell me this won't kill the movie, man." The guilt landed harder than any punch. 12:15 p.m. Production office. In an emergency meeting, director Quentin Dillard paced like a caged panther. "We're bleeding hours. Until legal clears this, action sequences are on hold, meaning half today's call sheet is useless. Studio wants a statement from you, Jason, something contrite but strong." Jason's mind flashed to his promise, never apologize for professionalism, yet livelihoods were at stake. He agreed to draft something, stomach nodding. Then the cherry on the misery sundae arrived. The vintage '68 Mustang, back from diagnostics, erupted in flames during a routine idle test. A fuel line fault, 1 in a million, turned the hero car into a crackling inferno, captured by 3 smartphones and an overeager local news drone. Insurance adjusters groaned, social media memed, STATHAM's karma burnout. 3:42 p.m. Midtown Atlanta ER. Meanwhile, T-Bone sat on a gurney surrounded by beeping machines, neck brace crooked for maximum sympathy. Local reporter Greta Wynn shoved a mic in his face. "Any comment?" T-Bone managed a theatrically raspy whisper. "I just wanted a safe set, he attacked me." Tears glistened. The clip went live within minutes, spawning Justice for T-Bone hashtags, while diehard Statham fans countered with Elbowgate and Security Smackdown. Culture war ignited. 6:00 p.m. Jason's hotel suite. The day's freefall culminated in a video call with studio chair Randall R.J. Jameson and chief counsel Jasmine Patel. Their verdict: indefinite production suspension pending investigation. Stunt teams, location rentals, catering, everything paused. Crew paychecks, tenuous. RJ's image flickered. We need this resolved within a week or the board will pull funding. Find a settlement fast. Jason nodded, jaw tight. Setbacks were stacking faster than he could counter. But the knockout blow landed when Jasmine added, and Jason, the Atlanta DA's office just indicated they're reviewing the footage for possible criminal misdemeanor charges. If that sticks, you'll be arraigned. Criminals, the word hollowed the rooms. 8:55 p.m. Rooftop, 44 stories above Peachtree Street. Seeking air, Jason slipped past hotel security ironic onto the observation deck. The skyline glittered, taunting. His phone buzzed, unknown number, he answered. A synthetic voice modulator crackled. Thought you could bully me and walk. Check your email, superstar. Click, the call died. Jason's inbox pinged. Anonymous sender, subject line payback. Inside, a single attachment, grainy CCTV stills showing T-Bone and an unidentified figure planting something under Jason's Range Rover the night before. Timestamped 11:17 p.m. after the parking lot confrontation. Bomb tracker, frame job, questions slammed like shutters in a storm. He forwarded the file to Evelyn Pace with a single line, "We've been set up." Seconds later, another email arrived, no text, just a link to a private streaming site. He clicked. The window opened to a countdown, live in 12 hours. Placeholder graphic, Jason's headshot inside crosshairs. Lightning in the distance stitched the clouds. Thunder rolled, a soundscape for looming disaster. Jason realized with icy clarity, the elbow, the viral clip, the Mustang fire, crew layoffs, maybe none of it was random. Someone wanted him ruined, and the wrecking ball hadn't finished its swing. He leaned on the railing, the city far below, and whispered, "No way it can get worse." As if summoned, his phone buzzed once more. Breaking news alert. Breaking. Lockbox Meridian financier arrested in crypto laundering scheme. Film funds frozen. The deck seemed to tilt. Project bankrupt, reputation torched, possible criminal charge, and a 12-hour clock ticking on who knows what. Jason's breath fogged in the humid southern night. Rock bottom achieved, he thought, a grim half-smile cutting through dread. He pushed away from the rail, resolve coalescing like tempered steel. If someone engineered this spiral, he'd find the puppet strings and cut them. Jason Statham spent the night stitching clues together like a field surgeon in a war zone. Attorney Evelyn Pace looped in a digital forensics savant, Jordan Falk, who converted the grainy stills of the Range Rover tampering into a 3D trajectory map. The saboteur's gait and build matched one man, Marcus Diesel Hobbs, Terrence Rourke's biker buddy, the same guy who'd filmed assault footage at dawn. Motive, still foggy. But the 12-hour countdown dangling over Jason's head was now 10. At 3:07 a.m. they caught a break. Jordan traced the anonymous streaming site to a rack of rented servers paid for with crypto funneled through Valener Holdings, the very shell corporation Fulton County investigators had tied to Lockbox Meridian's indicted financier. Threads converged. The failed Mustang, the viral elbow clip, the frozen funding. Someone was weaponizing chaos. 6:15 a.m. Old Foundry District. Jason and Evelyn arrived at a derelict steel fabrication plant, address supplied by Jordan's trace. Atlanta PD wouldn't greenlight a warrant without more, so the two went in alone, flashlights slicing dust motes, adrenaline humming. They found Diesel's Harley parked outside a side door. Inside, the foundry was a cavern of rusted catwalks and gutted furnaces. Mid-floor sat a pop-up studio, ring lights, switcher board, high-speed uplink built for one purpose, broadcast spectacle, cables snaked to a coffin-sized road case. Jason cracked it open and went still. Inside lay Terrence Rourke, duct taped to a backboard, breathing but sedated, a prop gun muzzle tucked under his chin. A digital timer above him read 01:38:44, counting down to the promised livestream. A wide-angle lens pointed at the guard's slack face. Taped to his chest was a note, "Hollywood kills its own." Evelyn hissed, "They're staging your execution of him." Jason's pulse drummed. We get him out, we kill their show. They set to work, but Diesel stormed in. .45 leveled. Step away, tough guy, director's orders. His eyes glittered with the mania of a zealot who thinks he's starring in a revolution. Jason placed both hands up, voice low. Who's directing Marcus? The biker sneered. Same man who bankrolled your pretty little blockbuster, Silas Ward. Movie flops, investors cash insurance, scandal spikes streaming doc sales. You're the fall guy, Rurk's the martyr, I'm the whistleblower hero. Insurance fraud layered over crypto laundering, diabolical and lucrative. Jason's mind flashed to hundreds of crew now unemployed so a kingpin could juice a payout. Diesel cocked the hammer. Now back up. Ward wants the star on camera when the world sees the trigger pulled. Real tears, real screams. Jason inched sideways, angling offline. Funny thing about insurance, Marcus, it doesn't pay out on premeditated homicide. Diesel frowned, fraction-second hesitation. Jason launched. A forearm parry knocked the pistol aside, a knee spiked Diesel's midsection, folding him. Evelyn kicked the gun away. Jason landed an elbow that left Diesel unconscious against a steel column. Timer 01:31:02. They freed Rurk, lugged him to Evelyn's sedan. Sirens howled in the distance. Jordan had finally convinced APD a SWAT call was warranted, but Jason couldn't leave yet. Ward still got the feed, he said. If the timer hits 0, he'll splice some deepfake of me finishing T-Bone. Evelyn's eyes hardened, then we crash his premiere. 8:00 a.m. Midtown Pinnacle Tower, 31st floor. Silas Ward's corporate lair overlooked Atlanta like a chess master surveying pawns. A hand-picked security team, off-duty mercs, ringed the elevator lobby. Jason strode out in blood-specked training gear, glare set to Arctic. One guard named Eric Blaine blocked him. Mr. Ward's in a meeting. Jason replied with an arm-drag takedown so fluid it felt rehearsed, then whipped the earpiece from Blaine's head. Tell Ward the meeting just got rescheduled. He stepped over the groaning guard and entered the boardroom. Silas Ward stood by a floor-to-ceiling window, silver hair impeccable, sipping espresso. Two attorneys, Mara Klein and Harold Dupree, flanked him. A giant monitor displayed the countdown, 00:46:18. Ward smiled like a serpent sunning on marble. Jonathan, Jason, you're earlier than advertised. Jason tossed Diesel's confiscated GoPro onto the conference table. Footage autoplayed, Diesel bragging about the scam, nomming Ward as mastermind. Ward's smile thinned. Jason, call off the stream. Wire restitution to every crew member, confess to the DA, or that clip goes everywhere. Ward sighed, you heroic types always thinking one video topples empires. He tapped a remote. The monitor split-screened, live feeds of Evelyn's sedan boxed by unmarked SUVs, APD cruisers misdirected. Ward murmured, I still own a few chess pieces. Jason's throat went cold. Rurk and Evelyn were trapped. Timer 00:45:02. Ward turned. Be sensible, Mr. Statham. Sign a statement admitting rage assault, take a 2-year probation plea. I cancel the live stream, everyone lives to film another day. It was the devil's bargain, spill blood from reputation instead of veins. Jason weighed it, but glimpsed Ward's reflection in the glass, eyes alight with conquest. The man wouldn't stop. A signed confession would only fuel his docu-scandal. Jason made his decision. He launched, disarming Ward of the remote, but Mara Klein drew a taser, crackling arcs. Jason pivot-kicked the conference table into her knees. Dupree dove for a panic button, but Jason's right cross aborted the attempt. Ward scrambled for his phone. Jason seized him by the lapels and hauled him to the balcony. 31 floors up, wind howled. Below, sirens converged as the misdirect dissipated. Jordan had patched the APD feed, revealing the SUVs as Ward's rent-a-goons. Jason pressed Ward's back to the rail. End it now. Ward, voice tremoring for the first time, barked into his phone. Cut the feed, cut it. Monitor inside went black at 00:38:11. Police battering rams crashed the lobby downstairs. Jason released Ward, just as APD Detective Shannon Reeves burst through with officers, weapons drawn. Hands went up, Ward's empire collapsed in handcuffs. Relief coursed through Jason, but a single beat later, Detective Reeves looked at him apologetically. Mr. Statham, I'm afraid you need to come too. Fulton DA filed assault charges before this mess unraveled. Paperwork's not withdrawn yet. Jason exhaled, collateral reality. He offered wrists. Cameras outside captured the sight. Action star, bruised and cuffed, escorted beside the disgraced mogul he'd just unmasked. Narrative whiplash for the public and an enduring meme. 11:45 a.m., Fulton County holding cells. While attorneys hammered phones upstairs, Jason sat opposite Terrence Rourke, both on steel benches, both in disposable jumpsuits. Rourke's groggy eyes held an embarrassed sheen. "Didn't think they'd drug me," he muttered. "Ward paid double after our parking lot beef went viral, said I'd leave a legend." Jason managed a rueful smile. Turns out legends can be liabilities. Rourke extended a hand. Jason shook it, olive branch secured. Evelyn arrived with a clerk waving dismissal papers, the DA dropping charges in light of new evidence. Freedom beckoned. Jason stood, shoulders finally unweighted. Then the gut punch detonated. His phone returned with personal effects, pinged with a Financial Conduct Authority alert. All UK assets frozen, on hold pending investigation into fund misappropriation. Ward, anticipating failure, had rerouted laundered crypto through shell accounts bearing Jason's signature, digital forgeries planted months ago. The FCA considered him a prime suspect in a £120 million wash scheme. Evelyn read the notice, face blanching. This supersedes state jurisdiction. You'll be extradited to London for questioning, could be years to untangle. Sting numbed Jason's tongue. They had won the battle, toppled the puppet master, and still the shrapnel lodged deep. His mother's cottage, his charity trust, every royalty stream, frozen. Crew might get paid, fans might forgive, but Jason's own life was now rubble in a different courtroom. Across the cell block, a TV blared breaking news. STATHAM EXPOSES Hollywood fraud now faces international money laundering probe. The Chiron's cruel symmetry made him almost laugh. Almost. He closed his eyes, drew a breath that tasted of disinfectant and irony. The war wasn't over, it had only changed arenas. Yet somewhere inside the ache a coal of resolve glowed. He'd peeled back one mask, he'd peel off the rest, however long it took. For now, he stepped into the corridor, shackles clicking, a battered knight trudging toward yet another dragon.